Hi, Pavel. So let's take a look at your first set of essays as part of the package. Let's see what you wrote. First one is about schools and whether they should um, be more entertaining. Please make sure that you include the topic. Just copy and paste it into your answer. Whether we're talking about a task 1 or a task 2, I do need to refer to it, so that would really help me out. Okay, let's take a look and see what you wrote. Computer's doing something silly. There we go. Okay, so there is an education polemics where some people advocate that schooling should uniquely deliver knowledge, while others think that education should also be divert. In my opinion, while the objective of the school is to bring up a child and prepare him for adulthood, the process must be fun and easygoing. All right, so let's talk about this introduction a little bit. Let's see. So, what do I want to tell you about this? Well, I want to tell you a handful of things. First of all, some of the language, some of the vocabulary was not entirely appropriate. So, this felt a little unnatural to me, this education polemics thing, as well as uniquely deliver also didn't feel very natural, and divert was the wrong word. So, if you would allow me, I'd like to give you some suggestions here. There is a debate in education where some people advocate that schooling should focus only on delivering academic knowledge, while others think that education should be more enjoyable and fun. In my opinion, while the objective of school is to bring up a child and prepare him for adulthood, the process must be, you could have said, yeah, joyful and easygoing. That would have been fine. Or even entertaining. You are allowed to use the word entertaining, okay? That would have been all right. So let's see what you said after this. According to, careful, it's not an independent research, it's an independent study. Research is uncountable. So, according to independent research carried out by a British pedagogy entity, children, especially in their early years, learn through play. Thus, for example, the time employed for teaching counting was reduced by half when infants were motivated to earn some money if they succeeded. Similarly, youngsters can learn writing and reading when they are strongly motivated to do so. For example, a child who expects intrigue from text is much more self-encouraged to learn to read in comparison two, when he is forced to focus on a content devoid of emotion. Okay. The first thing that I want to point out to you is a lot of these front position markers. I think, if I'm not mistaken, all your sentences had one. So let me show you what I mean. Thus, similarly, for example, you want to avoid using too many of these. I want to see your next paragraph if they have them too. Therefore, for instance, similarly, in both cases. So you really do have quite a lot of these. Yes, you should have a variety of different linking words, but you want to avoid having so many front position markers. That's what these are called when they come in the beginning of the sentence and have a comma after them. Try to avoid using so many of these. There are many more fluent, kind of non-invasive ways of creating cohesion. So that's what I would like you to look at. Okay. Let's see. So, what are you telling us here? Let me see if I understand your central message. I'm not entirely sure that your examples deal with entertainment. So let's talk about what entertaining means. Entertaining means something that is lighthearted, something that is fun, something that is enjoyable, something funny. Okay? These are things that are entertaining, things that in a lighthearted kind of way make us laugh, make us smile, fill us with a sense of joy. So my question to you is, well, do your examples kind of illustrate this? So you're talking about motivated to earn money. mean, maybe that's play. Okay, perhaps. And then this one too, I didn't understand this one at all. You're encouraged to read because you're intrigued. That didn't really make sense to me. I mean, it didn't at least seem to follow this idea of entertainment. Okay. The first example, if you're saying that, this is like a competition and oh, look how fun it is, then okay. But I'm not so sure about the second example. All right, let's continue. Therefore, coaching that lacks any sensational background is extremely unproductive. All right, this I don't understand. It's definitely the wrong word here. Sensational background feels very unnatural, and it's not carrying the meaning that you want it to carry, which is this idea of entertainment. So, coaching that lacks any playful attitude or any sense of enjoyment is extremely unproductive. The study of British Ministry of Education shows that only 2% of pupils excel, get rid of that S, in traditional schools. The cause, of course, is a lack of motivation coming from dull and impractical teaching. For instance, mathematics lectures that solely repeat theory, formulas, and numbers are extremely difficult to concentrate upon and assimilate. Similarly, physical phenomena and formulas, you don't need a comma here, are impossible to understand when explained in a tedious, inappropriate manner. In both cases, while the lecture might be formally assisted, no knowledge was acquired. All right, that's a great paragraph. I thought you did really nicely here. It was just this one piece here that I didn't really like in terms of vocabulary. Other than that, it was good. To conclude, while I agree that schooling should prepare a child for adulthood, it is completely unachievable with a lack of entertainment. Thus, when graduating, students will have a knowledge gap unless education delivery is modified. Okay, that was good. I like that. So I definitely feel like the second half of the essay was stronger than the first. I was, happy with that from here on. So you're on the right track, okay? Let's take a look at your second essay about doing an enjoyable activity. You don't need a comma here. I can tell you that straight away. Here, you don't need it. So most people think that performing a funny activity with offspring, get rid of and again, no comma, is more developing than reading. I don't really care for this word. I understand that you're trying to rephrase, but more developing is not an expression we would use in English. You could have just said benefits development. That would be more natural. In my opinion, while it might be useful to engage a child in a merry undertaking, the importance of reading is rather underestimated. Or I like this. I don't like the word merry undertaking. Again, it's not natural English language. We don't use the words in this combination, and we don't really often use the word merry in this. I mean, outside of the context of Christmas, quite frankly. Yeah, we do talk about merrymakers, but I would not use the word merry like this, merry undertaking. Oh, what would have been more natural? Let's see. While it might be useful to engage a child in an amusing activity, something like that would be fine. Now, the other thing that I'm concerned about is you made no mention in your introduction of skills or creativity. Those are the two areas you're supposed to be talking about. So, for me, it raises a red flag that perhaps you're not going to talk about the areas that you are supposed to talk about. So, it's the kind of thing that when reading this, I'm keeping it in mind. All right? So, let's see. To start with, having a child involved in practical tasks such as cooking, drawing, or playing music contributes indeed to his personal development. However, the parent himself is not omniscient and incapable of teaching the child all the knowledge he needs. Okay? For example, when a parent teaches his offspring how to draw a cat, he cannot coach everything about both drawing and a cat itself due to his knowledge limitations. Therefore, when a youngster reads something about a cat, his comprehension expands beyond his parent's knowledge. Similarly, after mastering a violin and afterwards reading about play techniques in music, an infant acquires further skill and understanding. Okay. So what do you I'm a little confused. While it might be useful to engage, the importance of reading is underestimated. So here you're basically telling us how important reading is. Fine, let's continue. Secondly, parents should enhance the bedroom culture of their children. Reading in particular fairy tales overnight. I don't think you mean overnight. Overnight means all night long. Is that what you're suggesting children do? I don't think so. Therefore, when a youngster listens to fantasy stories, in addition to the expansion of his knowledge and imagination, he is also more likely to develop a desire for reading. This desire, of course, can teach him to read. The sooner he starts, the higher the probabilities of success. For example, a study from an International Author Association showed that 95% of genius authors, no comma needed, started reading at an early age. The research also suggests that outstanding writers, such as Shakespeare, develop their writing skills through extensive reading. Okay. To conclude, while a pleasurable task contributes to the development of an infant, reading is more essential. The personality and success of a child will be faster developed if he starts reading as soon as possible. Okay, so again, I definitely like the second half of this essay more. I do have a couple of concerns. My first concern is this. You said, while it might be useful to engage a child, etc., the importance of reading is rather understated. Now, when you do your introduction like that, you essentially lead the examiner to believe that there is going to be a paragraph which covers how engaging the child in an activity is helpful and helps develop skills. And then you're going to have another one which talks about why reading is better. This paragraph didn't really do that. It didn't really, not really at least, talk about how engaging in a fun activity is so good. And quite honestly, I wasn't really sure where you were going with this. So in the middle of the paragraph or so, you started talking about, yeah, great, do fun activities, but kind of solidify it and complement it with reading. So it wasn't really about doing a fun activity. Okay? So that was my first concern. My second concern is that I don't really feel like you talked very much about skills. Okay, great. Here you talked about writing skills. That's fine. And then here, I guess you were talking about comprehension. And that's okay. It just took a very long while to get to it. So, you want the reader to be able to really pick out your central idea and your main ideas really rather quickly. I had to look for them in both instances, so be careful with that. Follow the template a little more carefully to make sure that your central idea and the main ideas that support that central idea are clear. So the other thing that I want to talk to you about was that this was supposed to also be about creativity. So what a lot of students like to do is they like to spend one paragraph talking about skills, and that can be a lot of different things: fine motor skills, hand-eye coordination, and then teamwork, whatever. And then in another paragraph, they talk about creativity. You didn't really talk about it. You talked about imagination really, really briefly here, but that's not enough. The fact is that if the people at IELTS went to the trouble of saying develop skills and creativity, well, for that and creativity to be there, it means that they absolutely want you to focus on creativity to a decent extent. Okay, so that's kind of a hint when you see some of this language, like some of this and, or, and so forth. You need to know how to treat it. So you needed to talk more about creativity and how either activity can help develop that. All right, Pavel. So you're on the right track. Keep at it, but also try to apply some of the things that I'm talking about in this video today in your next set. I'm here. I'm waiting for it. I'm looking forward to your next set and seeing what you do with that and how you improve. So get started, and we'll meet back here with that next set. Good luck.